All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation, YouTube family? We're back. Another episode of The Witching Hour. And got a new crew, got a new face. You've seen him on a couple shows here. It's our wizard, behind the scenes projection wizard, tool wizard, wizard of everything. Hoop had some stuff going on today, so got the little phone call over to Keith. Keith could step in, help us out. Very, very intelligent baseball mind. Umpire as well, plays the game, understands the game. Keith, how we doing, man? Happy Friday.
Doing pretty good. Just enjoying the 95-degree weather here in Oklahoma and kind of trying to figure out what to do with this slate to make some money and help everybody else make some money.
Yeah. You said it best. That's the route here. That's what we're going to do. Going to bring the winners to the people. A little housekeeping off the top here. You got 3 days left. 3 days left to get the founding family benefits and get in at the lowest price possible for all of our premium content, premium tools over here at ShipItNation.com. $59 a month, $5.99 for the year does get you access. And along with that, $10,000 at least in free rolls for the founding family membership benefits, and 3 days left for that. It's the first month we ran the special. Obviously, we're coming up on 3 days for the 1 month to be over. So get in now. Definitely get that done. Hit the like button if you guys are here and have not done so already. We're going to make a push, and I'm going to shoot for the stars here. We're at 1,040 subscribers, it looks like here. So we surpassed the 1,000 mark. Appreciate everyone who has subscribed already. If you have not done so already, please hit the subscribe button. If you are new, we're trying to grow this channel. And if we get to 1.1K subscribers, so we need about 58 or 60 or so on this show. If we can get that done, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of our premium tools over here and give you the top-ranked hitter and the top-ranked pitcher on Keith's tools, Keith's model over here on ShipItNation.com, which has been known to pay off, known to print some money over here. Obviously, Tommy Henry a couple weeks ago dropped the 30 bomb on the slate at 5.4K. He was our number one ranked pitcher that night. So obviously, there's a lot of chalk here tonight at pitcher, a lot of good pitching options. So I will give that if we do get to 1.1K. Make the push home for the people. But, Keith, let's talk on pitching here. Obviously, we have a 13-game slate. We try and keep these shows pretty quick so everyone has enough time to build their lineups. Let's jump into the pitching slate here. Let's go Dylan Cease at 9,200 all the way up to the top. Garrett Cole at 11K. Touch on Ohtani. Touch on Javier if you have any interest. Castillo. The only real chalk that I'm seeing in this range is obviously Ohtani, probably 40 to 50% owned at least. Obviously gets a great matchup against Seattle. Talk on all those guys, what you have interest, what you're going to do with Ohtani and anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to get away from Ohtani. I talked about it yesterday with, I think it was Merrill Kelly, but that game got postponed after the show. It's one of those things where I've got a bunch of qualifiers as far as, exit velocity, xWOBA, opponent stuff. And today he's the only guy on the main slate that actually hits every single box. So he's a part of our pitching Blue Man group. The problem with that, as I'm looking right here, nope, there isn't a problem. He is 5-0 with a 1.45 or a 1.64 ERA in 7 games against the Seattle Mariners. So let's just put it this way: he likes showing out for Ichiro.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the Seattle team, we've been attacking them with pitchers for quite some time, especially when they are on the road here. Not the greatest hitters park either, Angel Stadium. So overall, I think, that's a great talking point. Are you kind of just going to lock him into your lineups? What are you going to do there? Obviously, you and I both play 2 to 3 teams a night here. I'll touch on my takes with him in a little bit here. Touch on the rest of this range as well, outside of Ohtani.
Yeah, it's Dylan Cease is you got to kind of look at him a little bit. He's been up and down this year, but the results have been worse than what he's actually pitching. 9,200 is a pretty nice little price tag. I don't mind going to Luis Castillo here and stacking up this late inning pitching game. Just as well as I do, especially on DraftKings, that a lot of people don't like to play pitchers from the same game. One, because, and I used to be of this group, if I'm playing 2 pitchers for the same game, I'm automatically limiting my upside because one of those pitchers can't qualify for the win. But with that said, we've seen it enough to where we know that you can stack pitching in a game. And if it's a 1-0 game going into the 8th inning and both of these pitchers are still going, you're probably, as long as you've hit it on the right bats, really, really close to probably shipping your contests. So I don't mind going there. It's a little expensive with Ohtani being 10-4 and Castillo being 9-8. So you're going to have to find some value, but I think it's going to be different tonight.
Yeah, no. So it sounds like you're kind of aligned with me to a certain extent here at the top. Obviously, Ohtani, best play on the slate by far for the pitcher. It's obviously baseball. It could fail. There is some power in this lineup for Seattle that could hit a bomb or two here, but overall, I do think the K upside outweighs that power threat. Cal Raleigh should be hitting right in the middle of that lineup. He's the most scary bat personally. Jared Kelenic, obviously, but it is a lefty-lefty matchup for Kelenic. So a little downgrade there. It is a decision point you have to make. Personally, I have him on one of my 3 teams currently on DraftKings. I'll just be transparent. So probably a little bit under the field there because he is probably going to come in about 40 to 50% owned, maybe even higher in some single entry stuff. But it's a great play. Can't really talk you off of him to fade Ohtani, obviously. Castillo is interesting as well. Probably be 20 to 25% owned, give or take. But he does get this Angels team. Obviously, these Angels, you can't play Ohtani as a bat. DraftKings still has not figured that out, making 2 players with the same name. Because he does obviously still hit when he's pitching. It's just unfortunate you can't. So from a standpoint of the Angels bats, obviously Ohtani's still in there to hit against Castillo. You got Mike Trout, you got Brandon Drury, and some of these other guys that got pretty good numbers at home against right-handed pitching. I'm probably out on Castillo here. I get the reason why people are going to him, but 9,800 is just expensive, and I like a lot of expensive bats on the slate. One team I'll talk on later that is expensive up and down the lineup that is not getting the ownership that they should, personally, that I think should warrant. So I like going to those bats, and it gets expensive quick when you stack up an expensive team. Obviously, we got the Padres in Coors Field. You got the Braves. All have very healthy implied run totals. All are expensive. It's just I like to save a little bit at pitcher. So in this range for me, Ohtani, number 1, clear cut. Obviously, just like everyone else, pretty much across the industry. And then Dylan Cease is actually going to check in number 2 here for me. This Miami team has 6 out of the 9 hitters in this lineup striking out over a 25% clip. I just think Dylan Cease can go out there, get the job done, post some strikeouts, and post a decent score. I'm not seeing him getting much ownership at all. Sub 10%, I think, is a very nice little contrarian option there at the top. So for me, it's definitely Ohtani number 1, Cease number 2 for me, and then Castillo would be kind of a distant third. I'm off the rest of these guys. I get Garrett Cole at the top, but I would just rather go down to Ohtani because I am still seeing 20 to 25% ownership on Garrett Cole. It's actually pretty good hitting conditions in Yankee Stadium here tonight as well. And we got a guy for all the BVP truthers out there that owns Garrett Cole and Rafael Devers. They're hitting 4th tonight. So off the rest of these guys, Keith, let's jump into the next range here.
Hold on. Okay. because I got to throw this guy in here. It's not like they don't strike out a ton, right? And it's not like they're an offense we fear. But if you want to, and you're thinking back to like Spencer Strider last night, okay, and you want to get off the chalk Shohei Ohtani and save a little bit of money, you can go right over there to Christian Javier at 10-8 against this Guardians lineup. That is, look, I know Jose Ramirez hit 3 bombs last night. I know he was, if you didn't have him, you definitely weren't winning anything, but you probably were hard pressed to cash. But you've got a team here that has a combined xWOBA of 292 with an xISO of 124. And I'm willing, if you're building 20 to 150 lineups, I'm willing to sub out some of that Ohtani love for Christian Javier, who's going to come in probably less than 10%.
Yeah, I'm seeing sub 5% personally on Javier being $400 more than Ohtani, and he's sandwiched right between 2 guys that are getting ownership in Garrett Cole and Ohtani. So yeah, I don't mind that. I just kind of made a mental note in my head that I just don't feel like picking on these Guardians with pitchers, especially on a 13-game slate here. He is 10-8. I do get the play. I really do, and I did misspeak in the chat. Obviously. I apologize for that. Ohtani does pitch right-handed. I'm sorry. So sorry for misspeaking there. But either way, obviously still an incredible matchup for Ohtani. But you didn't need me to tell you that. He is going to be the clear-cut chalk on the slate for a reason. Let's jump into the next game.
Quick question. Do you know how many home runs Garrett Cole's given up to the Boston Red Sox in the last 2 years?
I know Rafael Devers has probably 5 or 6 himself.
Yeah, it's crazy. But he's given up 14 to the Red Sox in 9 games in the last 2 years. Like, it's unreal.
Yeah, I can't play Garrett Cole at 11K on this slate personally. So I'm out on him. It's just really 2 guys at the top that I had interest in, Ohtani and Dylan Cease. Keith, let's jump into the next range here. Let's go 7K all the way up to Yuri Perez. Obviously, Yuri Perez has been very good so far this year. He is 8,900 against the Chicago White Sox. Touch on one guy in particular, Tyler Wells, probably going to be 30 to 40% owned here. But, man, he's got probably the best matchup on the board, in my opinion, here. Obviously, and he's much cheaper than Ohtani there. I personally would not pair Ohtani and Tyler Wells together. That's just not what I typically do when I'm playing single entry and 3-max stuff, because those will be the 2 far and away highest owned pitchers on the slate. So hit on him, hit on anyone else you have interest in here. Obviously, Yu Darvish, kind of pretty healthy projection here, but he is pitching in Coors Field against your Rockies. So hit on that. Anyone else that I missed as well?
Marcus Stroman facing the Giants coming out of Denver. FanDuel, I guess they listen to our show and they've listened to me because for some reason he's priced over 10K. And I've never seen Marcus Stroman priced over 10K before. He's pitched really well this year. Now he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, even though he's striking out more than he normally does. But at 8,700 on DK, like he's my favorite pairing with Ohtani tonight. I can't play him on FanDuel. Obviously, Tyler Wells is 9,700. Yuri Perez is 9,200. And then you can go down to the bottom of this and go to another guy that I have a little bit of interest in down at the bottom, Jordan Montgomery on FanDuel at 8,200. But on DraftKings, where you can pay a little bit more to be a little bit contrarian, and you're facing a team that, let's be honest, they kind of stole some games from the Rockies this year or this past 3 days, going into one of the better pitching environments in the major leagues. I have a lot of interest in Marcus Stroman tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Obviously, we always, especially the first game out of Coors Field, we always like attacking those teams coming out of Coors Field with opposing pitchers, and Stroman's been good. He ranks out very well on our pitcher rankings over here that you have created with StatCast data and park factors, all that kind of stuff that goes into them, all the proprietary information behind the scenes. And I'm looking at it, and I kind of glanced over him. So I'm glad you brought him up. I need to take a deeper look at him because it is. I mean, he's going to be sub 5% ownership probably. And I mean, you're talking a guy $400 cheaper who I do love in Tyler Wells. But I mean, you're getting 1/6 the ownership on going to a guy like Stroman, who, I mean, could have just as much upside, I could argue here, because I mean, yeah, the Royals do strike out a ton, but I mean, there's still guys in that lineup that could get to him. And I mean, we've seen the Royals be pesky at times. Obviously, I still love Tyler Wells, but paying up a little bit to be contrarian, never hate that. So I do like that Stroman call there. Hit on the rest of this range. Anyone else that you have interest in here?
Just Jordan Montgomery. He's actually been pitching pretty well. The numbers don't show it, but this Cincinnati team, yeah, they've got all the hype around them with De La Cruz coming in. But I don't know. It just feels like a spot where against the left-handed pitcher, we saw De La Cruz strike out a lot. And I think what the Cardinals are going to do is they're going to keep lefties in there against De La Cruz until he can prove that he's got the same kind of what's the word I'm looking up for? Dynamic. From the right side of the plate. I mean, that's what I would do. And that's just from watching the two games. Like, he was otherworldly batting from the left side of the plate. From the right side of the plate, he kind of looked a little human. Had a little single. Yeah, he can steal bases, but it didn't feel like it was the same type of pop. So I think that if you can manage him and keep him flipped around, then you can kind of neutralize him a little bit. But at 8,200, I don't mind taking a shot here. I guess you could make a case for, you say Kikuchi, maybe at 8,400, but there's nothing really outside of Marcus Stroman and Tyler Wells. There's nothing really comfortable in this price range for me tonight.
Yeah, I do have a little bit more interest. I do like Kikuchi there against Minnesota. 7,100. I kind of got trapped into Kikuchi last time here, but I will continue to play pitchers against the Twins on the road, especially with this lineup that they rolled out here. They do strike out a lot. I mean, 1 through 3, Solano, Castro, Garlic. Yo, I'm getting a little bit feedback, Keith. Solano, Castro, Garlic there at the top. 31%, 50% strikeouts on the road against left-handed pitching. Obviously, Royce Lewis in his one at-bat did strike out against left-handed pitching on the road as well. So, I mean, this team has a 30+% K rate against left-handed pitching on the road. And I think Kikuchi can get the strikeouts. He'll probably give up some runs, but I think at 7,100, he does make some sense for an SP2 option to post a solid DraftKings score at the price tag. So I do like Kikuchi down there at the bottom. Jordan Montgomery, we were talking about it in the Discord over here. He does struggle holding runners on base, but I mean, the Reds need to get on base for him to struggle holding runners on base. Obviously, they do strike this Reds lineup. I mean, India, Stevenson, Fairchild, Berea, all strike out over a 30% clip against left-handed pitching on the road this year. Obviously, we just played the Reds quite a bit against the Dodgers in Great American Ballpark here. Now they go to a more pitcher-friendly park in St. Louis. Yeah, the runs have come up a little bit this year in St. Louis there, but it is still a pitcher's park overall. So I do like Jordan Montgomery there. He will be pretty owned. I especially like him over on FanDuel at 8,200. I think that's a very, very nice price tag on FanDuel in particular. So I do love him. He's my core pitcher on FanDuel in particular over there. But, I mean, I think 7,300 makes a great play on DraftKings here as well. And then my favorite, probably overall pitcher matchup, price tag included on this slate is Tyler Wells. I talked about it. I mean, these Royals on the road, 33% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. I mean, that back half of the lineup, even your leadoff hitter. I mean, your leadoff hitter in 39 plate appearances, striking out over a 40% clip against right-handed pitching. The back half of that lineup has guys striking out over 35%. Drew Waters striking out over 50% in his sample size on the road. So I think Tyler Wells can post a very nice game here. He is going to get ownership, but I'm not going to pair him with Ohtani, so that will make me different right there off the top. So for me in this range, Tyler Wells, number 1, Kikuchi, number 2, price tag considered, then Stroman, number 3, and then I do have interest in Jordan Montgomery as well. So kind of Stroman, Montgomery tied for 3rd in this range for me. Let's touch on the rest of the pitchers on this slate. Break it down for me, Keith. Everyone under 7K. So you got Daniel Lynch. Pretty much no one down here is getting ownership. Personally, I don't have any interest too much. One guy looks decent to me if you do need the salary savings. I actually found myself needing the salary saving in one of my 3 teams in Adrian Hauser against the Athletics. The Athletics are actually projecting to get a decent amount of ownership as a stack because they are cheap. People are thinking Hauser's numbers are fluky, which they could be. And the Athletics do get guaranteed 9th inning at bats coming into Milwaukee here to face the Brewers. So hit on Hauser, touch on Hauser, and then anyone else you have interest in. You're on mute.
I don't have a ton of interest in this range. One guy, I mean, so to touch on Hauser, he's going to face 4 lefties. He's not going to go through the lineup 3 times. You're going to be getting about 5 innings from him, so maybe 2.5 times. They are cheap. Guys like Seth Brown, Ramon Laureano, yeah, they've got some power. Ryan Noda's got some power, but like let's not forget that this is still the A's. And some of their numbers are kind of inflated after what they did against the Pirates. Like they had the series of their year against the Pirates. So I don't mind it. He's still Hauser's still got a 3.80 xERA. It's not that big of a diff. His barrel rate's under 5. Like lefties are getting to him as far as xWOB is concerned, but it's not like they're hitting the ball hard. He's a master of quality or a soft contact. I don't mind the Hauser play if you need savings. It's a little cheaper than what I thought you were going to go, but it's not bad. I was actually, let me double check something here. Because I think that my guy is right above him at 6,500. And it makes it even better that Aaron Judge isn't in the lineup. Okay, so Garrett Whitlock in 12 games. Now, granted, he hasn't started any of them, but he's kind of shoved against the Yankees. He's 3-1 with a 2.00 ERA. His strikeout to walk ratio is pretty decent. It's only a matter of time before he kind of figures everything out as a starter. I'm not saying that it's going to be tonight, but it's something I'm watching and I'm willing to take a chance on. If I need the savings, I haven't needed them yet, but if I need the savings, then I would probably go here. It's one of those things like I just kind of throw everything out the window when these two teams meet. They're usually pretty high scoring and stuff like that. But if he can go out at 6,500 and get me 16 DraftKings points, I'll be fine with that, especially at the low ownership.
Yeah, no, I agree there. Personally, I would just rather go to this Atlanta rookie in AJ Smith Shawver, I think is how you pronounce it. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, so that's the proper way. I do think he makes some sense. I mean, he is facing these Nationals. Yeah, the Nationals have been hitting the ball as of late. They are pesky, but and they also don't strike out. This kid has strikeout upside. He has shown strikeout upside here. Very, very highly touted prospect. I mean, he got drafted right out of high school. Sorry, someone's driving a motorcycle outside, so I apologize for that. But he got drafted right out of high school, flew through the minors, now making his second start, I believe, here for the Braves against the Nationals. The only issue is these Nationals just don't strike out. 17% clip to right-handed pitching on the road. So I just don't know if he has the upside. Personally, I would just rather go down to Hauser at 6K. I get it, but I would just much rather pick on the Athletics here. And I mean, Hauser held he posted a solid score against the Astros and the Rays, two very good offenses. So is it crazy to think Hauser comes back out here and pitches well against the Athletics? I don't think so. And you get him at $500 cheaper, but I do want to hit on that Braves guy as well at 6,500. That would be my only interest down here is Adrian Hauser and then the Braves, the Braves rookie at 6,500 if you need it. Personally, I would much rather kind of finish in that 7K range that we talked on. So Keith, let's we kind of covered pitching pretty well here. Let's jump into game by game. First game on the slate for me here. Let's go up to the top. I got the Mets heading into face the Pirates. Mets 4.4 implied run total. Obviously just scored a ton of runs in Truist Park against the Braves. Touch on the Mets because the Mets will get ownership on the slate. And the Pirates are actually pretty interesting, pretty healthy implied run total on the other side against Taylor Miguel here. Where are you going anywhere in this game for bats?
I'm actually kind of off this game. And it has nothing to do with anything more than the fact that the Mets can't hit their way out of wet paper sack right now. And Rich Hill actually has the ability to kind of, I don't want to say shove, but shut teams down. He has the, he's pretty savvy when it comes to maneuvering through a lineup. You don't see a lot of times where he gets absolutely just shelled and blown up. And on a 13-game slate, that's what I want. I want my offenses to absolutely just shell and go nuts. You can have some, there's so many better spots for me than the Mets that I can't pay these prices. Yeah, I get it. The Braves Mets game went absolutely freaking bananas last night. You had two really good pitchers, and guess what? They didn't show up, and the offenses did. And I'm willing to take the fact that, these guys aren't going to hit, or they're not going to hurt me. They might hit, but they're not going to hurt me. 9's a pretty high total, but I've got better spots where I can pick on worse pitchers.
Yeah, no, I have a little bit more interest in these Mets, but I'm seeing them projected right around the fourth highest owned stack on the slate tonight, obviously behind Coors Field and behind the Braves. But I do like two guys in particular, Tommy Pham, Francisco Lindor, I think make a ton of sense there. Tommy Pham's price tag is just super, super nice, 2,900. Expected ISO numbers over 350 against left-handed pitching, and he's batting third. So I like that little 3-4 man stack there. In Pham and Lindor as a little mini stack. I'm not going to full stack these Mets tonight. I just don't. I think I like other spots better. But I did run a little mini stack there of Tommy Pham and Lindor in one of my teams tonight. I like both of those guys. Check out pretty good. On the Pirates side here, I do think the Pirates make some sense. I mean, Brian Reynolds ranks very, very good over here on our tools at SHIPITNation.com. Andrew McCutchen, Jack Sawinski, Palacios even down there in the 8-hole, 2,300. I mean, these Pirates are cheap, not the greatest hitting park here. But, I mean, Tyler McGill, 5.8 expected ISO or expected ERA, strikeout rate under 18%, right around league average in terms of barrel rate. But I do think these Pirates make a decent little stack option if you do need the salary, and not seeing them getting a ton of ownership. So I think I lean more to the Pirates side of this game when you consider ownership overall. Let's jump into the next game here. Pretty easy cross-off spot for me on the Royals side against Tyler Wells, my number one pitcher on the slate. Touch on these Orioles. They do have a pretty healthy implied run total against Daniel Lynch here. Do you have any interest in either one of these sides?
Yeah, it's more the Orioles, like you said, against Tyler Wells. I can't really go to the Royals side of things. I guess if you want to go with the stolen bases and everything like that, I mean, I guess you could play a Bobby Witt if you really want to get ballsy, but 5,700 is kind of a hard price tag. On the Orioles, like, what I don't like this lineup, the way that it's kind of built. Obviously, they know a lot more than I do because that's why I'm not a manager in the big leagues. But after you get past Santander, like, do guys really scare you anymore? Like, I think they're a great mini stack. I think you can pair them up with whoever on a 5-3 stack on DraftKings. I think they're a great 3-man stack on FanDuel. If you want to get ballsy and go with the James McCann at 2,400 or 2,100, then I'm not going to blame you. It's something you're not going to be able to on DraftKings. You're not going to be able to play him and Adley at the same, but on FanDuel you can. I don't mind taking a one shot with him as a single bullet, but it's not. I like a lot of the later games. I don't like a lot of these East Coast games right now.
All right, yeah. I'm kind of lockstep. Royals, easy cross off for me here. Orioles side, the only interest I really have is James McCann, specifically on FanDuel 2,100. He does have home run upside there, nice salary saving. I like other catchers on DraftKings in particular, but if you do need a catcher sub 22.5K, I think you can certainly go to him there, hitting right in the middle of that lineup. So I don't mind that. He does have pretty good expected ISO numbers at home against lefties overall. So that's kind of my interest in this one. Keith, I like this next game quite a bit on one side in particular. I think their implied run total is a little low, personally, against Ranger Suarez here. It's the Dodgers heading in to face these Phillies. Ranger Suarez on the mound for the Phillies. Michael Grove on the mound for the Dodgers. Both teams implied to score right around 4.5 runs. These Dodgers coming in very, very low owned. I get the reason why. I mean, all their price tags are very expensive, but they've been hitting the ball. And I think they continue it here. It is Friday. For whatever reason, the Dodgers just seem to go off on Friday. Last Friday, what they score? 10, 11 runs, something like that. They went nuts. Yeah, they went nuts. Obviously, that's no correlation or anything, but it's a nice little funny point to make. But I do love the Dodgers here tonight, especially when you consider their ownership. I think they have just as much an upside as anyone on the slate, and nobody really wants to go to them for a stack. So personally, I love these guys. Do you have the same interest? Talk on any bats in this game you're going to.
Yeah, I have the same interest as you do, and nobody's going to them because they're expensive. I mean, you're talking about the first two guys in Mookie and Freddie. It's going to cost you 12 too. Will Smith isn't much cheaper, and then you got JD Martinez and Max Muncy. So the first 5 guys in this lineup are going to cost you a pretty penny. It's really, really hard unless you have some of this, the lower part of this lineup, and you want to wrap it around to kind of offset some of these expensive guys. I want to make fun of you for Chris Taylor, but I've been there and done that. So I have, it's one of those things where, you keep buying in on a guy, and the second you stop playing him or you don't play him is the night that he kind of goes off. I think you're right. I think their implied run total is definitely on the lower end, but I do have a lot of interest in these Dodgers against Ranger Suarez. The only question I have is, because we've been watching it for the last 2 days, is what's the air quality like in Philly? Like, that game last night was 3-2, and it was one of the best hitting environments on the slate. And it's not like they were like balls to the wall pitchers outside of Zach Wheeler. Like, it just is the air quality affecting that offense or those offenses is what I'm kind of concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's such a small sample. It's a 1-game sample, right, that we saw last night. I'm willing to kind of just bet on the side that the Dodgers just come back. I see Eric Johnson in the chat calling out me misspeaking. We have our proprietary implied run totals over here. We have them personally at 4.6 when you include money line, the game total, everything like that. So we have them at 4.6. Obviously, somewhere around the industry does have them at 5, things like that. But I don't really pay too much attention to implied run totals. If I like a team and they check out metrics wise, that's kind of how I make my decisions. So I do like the Dodgers here. I love them. JD Martinez, Max Muncy right there in the middle, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and then Vargas. This kid's been a stud. I like Vargas there as well a ton. Up and down, I think you can play 1 through 9 of these Dodgers. On the flip side, these Phillies, I'm not going to go to the Phillies here. I just like too many other teams on the slate much more. Let's jump into the next game. Before we do, if you have not hit the subscribe button already, please do so. We are trying to make a push now to 2,000 subscribers. You got us over 1K. We're going to keep making a push, continue to do more giveaways as our subscriber count does increase. Hit the like button as well if you have not already. Again, these shows are brought to you 6 days a week. And we are actually, little foreshadow, going to add a Saturday MLB show as well with our new guy on the staff over here. Very, very good FanDuel high stakes player in Hamwich. So you will see him and I will be doing the Sunday MLB show, and he is going to add a Saturday MLB show as well in the near future. So 7 days a week, we will be bringing you content right here on this channel for you guys for free. We appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Keith, let's jump into the next game here. You talked on Whitlock a little bit. Personally, I wasn't there with you. I like some of these Yankees bats a little bit. Couple one-offs, cheap guys that do have some power. But overall, from a stacking perspective, I don't think I'm stacking either one of these teams. Are you with me?
Yeah, I think we're kind of along the same lines. I'll probably be running a bunch of one-offs. We both kind of talked about Jake Bauers, 2,300 on DraftKings, sitting there at a 369 xISO against Garrett Whitlock. I'll take that, especially with that short porch there in Yankee Stadium. Josh Donaldson has actually performed pretty well since coming off the IL. Stanton kind of just is meh. It's amazing what happens when you remove one guy like Aaron Judge. What's your view of the lineup? Really kind of like, if you just take Aaron Judge and put him in for Billy McKinney, like, it changes the whole view of the lineup. I don't have a ton of interest outside of some one-offs here.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you. I do like Jake Bauers quite a bit, hitting right there in the middle of that order, 2,300, 2,600 on FanDuel, first base, outfield eligibility. He's had a couple, the one game last week or the week before I played him, he hit the 2 bombs. He does have power, and Whitlock can get barreled pretty easily here. Doesn't have an incredible K rate or anything like that. So I do like Jake Bauers quite a bit there at 2,300. He just fits teams very nicely. So I like that with the dual position eligibility. Rafael Devers owns Garrett Cole. I mean, Adam Duvall is back in the lineup tonight here, 4,900, right there hitting behind Devers. And hey, if Garrett Cole doesn't want to give Devers any pitches to hit, well, Adam Duvall is there right behind him. So I do think it's actually pretty good hitting weather on the metrics that I'm looking at here with these conditions tonight in terms of run boost and home run boost here. So I do think we could see some home runs here, but overall, I just don't think the runs overall in the game are going to get you to a score that's needed to take down the slate with some of these other teams that I just have much more interest in. So more mini stacks, one-offs in this game for me in particular, but I do think we see a couple home runs in this game. Let's jump into the next game. We got Minnesota Twins. I talked on Kikuchi, so I'm off these Twins, especially when they're on the road. This lineup that they rolled out, I get it's loaded with right-handed bats, but I mean, a lot of these righties still strike out a ton against left-handed pitching. These Blue Jays, right around a 4.5 implied run total. I haven't been on the Blue Jays very much. Sonny Gray's been good. I think this is a pretty easy stay away spot for bats in this one. Are you with me, Keith?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same for the Blue Jays. It's kind of the same as how I'm treating the Yankees. I mean, maybe some one-offs, Matt Chapman, Vladimir Guerrero, they've always got power. They've always got the ability to go deep. If you want to take a shot on maybe a Dalton Varsho to get some stolen base upside in there, you can do that. As far as the Twins are concerned, I mean, Royce Lewis isn't free anymore, so I can't go there. I mean, maybe if you want to take a shot on Kyle Garlick at 2K, but just know and understand, as soon as the Blue Jays bring in a right-handed batter, he's out of the game. So if you want to take that shot and try to get it and try to steal a home run for 2K, then I don't mind it. But I hate paying for guys. It doesn't matter what their price is. I hate paying for guys that I know are not going to be in the lineup come the 7th or 8th inning.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm off this game completely for bats. Obviously, Matt Chapman, you can always play there. Batting cleanup tonight. Brandon Belt's showing a little signs of life, showing a little power there. He could do it. He's batting third tonight, 2,400. Pretty nice value tag there. Vlad, obviously, you can always play Vlad Guerrero, but overall, not a ton of interest in that game for me in particular. Next game, we got Logan Allen, who's actually been pretty solid. But he does get the Astros here tonight. Pretty low game total overall, pretty low implied run total on both sides. Javier, Logan Allen, two pretty solid pitchers here. Personally, I don't feel the need to go to either side of this game. Obviously, Yordan Alvarez just went on the DL after leaving the game last night, so that hurts the Astros lineup quite a bit. Personally, pretty easy cross-off game for me. You can't play everyone on a 13-game slate, but do you see anyone that I'm missing here, Boomer?
Nope. I'm off this game. It's outside of Christian Javier. It's pretty much a cross off for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. Nice little speed up game on a 13-game slate. Again, ain't gonna try and talk you into a play that personally I'm not have any interest in. We're fully transparent over here. Next game, Washington Nationals heading into Truist Park to face the Braves here. Braves looking like the second highest owned team on the slate, right around a 6 implied run total against Josiah Gray. These Nationals, we talked on A.J. Smith. He's got a very good K to walk ratio in his sample size that we have seen. Has shown a little bit of control issues at times in his past coming up. But overall, I mean, 6,500, I do think he makes some sense. But these Nationals are super cheap. They do have some guys in the lineup that have low strikeout rates, pretty decent ISO numbers as well. And they have been hitting the ball a little bit. They're pretty pesky. Overall, team does not strike out at all. So that does limit my interest in A.J. Smith. It could be more of a, hey, maybe he just gets the better hand and he increases those strikeouts. But on a 13-game slate, I think I'd just rather go elsewhere because this Nationals team, 17% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching on the road. And that's over 60 plate appearances for 8 out of 9 of these hitters in this lineup. do you have where are you going in this one? Talk on the Braves chalk in particular. Obviously, the Braves are a focal point of the slate. Everyone seems to be going to Atlanta here against Josiah Gray.
Yeah, I think this makes for an interesting game stack as well. I mean, we just saw in this it's same exact weather as yesterday, pretty much, with worse pitchers that, if you want to get kind of creative on a 13-game slate, stack up this game because I love the Washington side. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. They run. They steal bases. They've got some guys with some pop. And there's a lot to like about this Washington team in this environment against a not so high quality pitcher. Yeah, he's got talent. Yeah, he's got, pedigree and stuff like that, but he hasn't shown it yet. And rookies, especially rookie pitchers, they're kind of up and down. So you kind of got to ride the waves, and I don't have any problems attacking them with these Nat Spats Washington lineup. So
yeah, I'm with you. This is his first start, right? I believe he came out of the bullpen last time, I believe.
Yep.
So this is his first start. It's mid 80s in Truist Park. Slight wind blowing out, right around 6 to 7 miles an hour. Not a huge factor by any means, but we just saw this same park explode last night. Obviously, everyone wants to go to one side in this game. Nobody really wants to go to the national side, but these guys are cheap. Keibert Ruiz, I think, makes an interesting option there at catcher. For one reason in particular, one guy that we're going to talk on in Coors Field is $200 more expensive than him in Gary Sanchez. Obviously, Gary Sanchez looks like he's the old Gary Sanchez, just launching bombs. Now gets to go to Coors Field. I expect a pretty heavy amount of ownership on Gary Sanchez there at 3,900. Nice little pivot personally for me that I like quite a bit is Keibert Ruiz. He's 252 expected ISO here. Gets to face a rookie making his debut in terms of start. Just a 9% strikeout rate on the road against right-handed pitching in his 66 plate appearances this year. So I like him. Corey Dickerson, always a threat to go deep. He's just 2,400 there. CJ Abrams can steal bases. He's not a huge power guy. But he'll run when he gets on. Alex Call will run. So a lot of these guys can steal bases, and Nationals are not afraid to run. So I do like both sides in this game. The Braves, definitely a top stack on the board for me. Matt Olson, one of my favorite plays on the entire slate there at first base, 5,800 against a righty. He just smashes right-handed pitching. He hits lefties too, but I much prefer him against right-handed pitching, and he's got a very healthy projection over here for us. Very good ISO numbers. Overall, up and down, I think you can play these Braves 1 through 9. Michael Harris, I like a lot down there in the 9 hole at 3K flat. Starting to hit the ball a little bit. He will steal bases as well. So a nice little 9-2 stack there with Michael Harris and Matt Olson, I think makes a lot of sense here. I like that quite a bit. But yeah, Braves definitely a top 3 stack on the entire slate for me. Personally, I like the Dodgers a little bit more when you consider ownership. But can't fault anyone for going right back to these Braves against Josiah Gray and the Nationals bullpen here. Next game on the slate, I like Dylan Cease quite a bit on one side, so I don't really plan to sign up for any of these Marlins. We got Jake Berger, pretty much my only interest on the White Sox side. Yuri Perez has been very solid. Do you have any interest in bats in this one, Keith?
Maybe some Andrew Vaughn. He's 3,200. First base is kind of one of those positions where everybody kind of focuses on the top. You're going to have guys playing, Freddie Freeman and, Paul Goldschmidt and Vladimir Guerrero. You're just going to have all those guys up at the top. I don't mind going down and saving some money with Andrew Vaughn here. Outside of that, you said Jake Berger. Yeah. It's the White Sox are again that team this year that's really kind of underwhelming. They don't put up a lot of huge scores. They've got some power. They're just kind of underperforming. I used to love playing the White Sox, but I just Yuri Perez has been nice to watch. I just can't get into stacking up against him yet.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's just more one-offs, mini stacks for me on the White Sox side in particular. Andrew Vaughn, I'm there with you. And Jake Berger. I'll continue to play Jake Berger. He is 3,800, but, I mean, he smashes right-handed pitching at home. 347 expected ISO. Last time I was on the show last week, I think, right? Last Friday, who shipped just about every cash game possible, won about $7,000 on FanDuel. And Jake Berger, I called him hitting a home run. It took him in extra innings or the ninth inning, but it got it home. So I do like Jake Berger quite a bit there, 3,800, 3,300 on FanDuel. That's my main interest. A nice little 4-6 stack there with Andrew Vaughn, Jake Berger, I think makes some sense, but not full stacking the White Sox here and not playing any of these Marlins overall against Dylan Cease. I do like Dylan Cease here. I think he can post a good score tonight on DraftKings. Next game on the slate, I like one side of this game in particular, much like the rest of the industry does. A lot of these Brewers are set to get ownership. You got an opener starting for Oakland here, going to pitch probably the first inning. That's about it. He is a lefty. And then we got Luis Medina that's going to come in long-term relief. He has not been good. He's given up, I think, 10 home runs in 29 innings, something like that. Has control issues, expected ERA approaching 7, strikeout rate under 20%, barrel rate over 11% or 10% here. These Brewers implied to score over 6 runs in our number, in our proprietary metrics over here, and they're all cheap. I think they're starting to hit the ball a little bit as well. Owen Miller's batting leadoff tonight. He's been locked in at the plate. They got Willie Adames back, which is huge for this lineup after that scary incident with him getting hit by a foul ball in the dugout there. Obviously, I'm from Wisconsin. I saw a comment. I own every piece of Wisconsin Badgers shirts. I guess the chat was calling out. So I do watch every one of these Brewer games. I like them quite a bit here tonight, especially. I mean, Joey Weimer batting 5th tonight. His ownership just went up a little bit, but I don't even care. I mean, he's 2,400. He's locked in at the plate right now. He's hitting home runs. Hey, he's got a very good eye. He's fast. He'll steal bases. I absolutely love these Brewers tonight. They're my main stack on my main team tonight. I'll be honest with you. I did 5-man the Brewers on my main build. Athletics, I can't do it against Hauser, but I get the reason why people want to go to them. They're cheap. I mean, this entire lineup, besides one guy, is all under 3K. So that's why the Athletics are getting ownership. But personally, I'm not going to go to that side. I'm going to go to the Brewer side. Are you with me, Keith?
Yeah. After I call you a homer for 5-man stacking your hometown team. Not that they're not a good play. I just wanted to call you a homer. So maybe you can answer the question. Is Yelich actually putting the ball in play with authority more than what he has the last couple years? Because if he is, then I like this stack a lot more because he's got the ability to kind of hit the ball over the yard, but I need him to be able to hit the ball out of the yard.
I mean, he's starting to hit for more power. Obviously, he had a lot of back issues, and I think that's finally starting to heal up. He is batting cleanup tonight, I believe. I think he is a very good play here. People might look at the opener here and see lefty and take them off, these lefties. But, I mean, they're going to bulk majority face right-handed pitching this entire game. I love Christian Yelich tonight. He did make my core over on the website overall. And yeah, Keith, I was with you. Last year I didn't play Yelich pretty much at all because he hit with 0 power. He is starting to hit with more power here, and the Brewers are starting to see that, right? They've had him batting leadoff for a while, but he's starting to hit the ball. Like, I mean, if he hits a 2 RBI double, I'll take that any day of the week, right? He doesn't need to hit a home run to score well on DraftKings, but he does have it in his bag. So I do like that quite a bit to answer your question there in particular on Yelich. But overall, I mean, I think these Brewers, they are going to get ownership, but they're going to significantly under-owned in compared to the Braves and the Padres in Coors Field. Do you have any other interest in this game as well?
No, I mean, if you want to take a one-off Seth Brown, then I'm not going to fault you for it. 2,800 in the outfield. I don't mind that play. Other than that, I mean, I'm actually so I'm with you on the Brewers. I've got them not in my main team, but I've got them in one of my other my third team as a 5-man stack. But I'm kind of skipping around and getting creative with it. I don't know how chalky they're going to be, but I mean, a 6.13 implied run total right behind the Padres, it makes you look hard, and it makes you kind of raise your eyebrows a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I like this lineup 1 through 9. I think the Brewers they'll steal bases as well. They had a double steal last night or the night before. Like, they'll run on Oakland here overall. Langeliers has a pretty solid arm actually behind the plate, but I don't really care, to be honest with you. And yeah, I seen it in the chat. Chalk Oakland is pretty gross. Not that they're going to be mega chalk by any means, but these guys are all getting ownership. And I hit on it. It's because of their salary. They're all under 3K besides Ruiz at the top. Keith, I'm getting feedback again. Besides Ruiz there at the top, I can't do it. I talked on why my interest I have for Hauser. I get Hauser is shit, but he's been pitching pretty solid all year. I talked about he held Houston. He held Tampa to a 1-run game, scored 18 DraftKings points, scored 20 on Houston. I mean, if he goes out there and gets me 15 at 6K on a 13-game slate and allows me to pay up for all the bats that everyone wants to play anyways, I have interest in that, especially on the flip side when these Oakland guys are going to get ownership as a mini stack in particular. Brewers 1 through 9, I like them quite a bit as a 5-man stack overall. Let's head into the next game here. We got the Reds heading into St. Louis to face Jordan Montgomery. I talked on Jordan Montgomery and our interest on the pitching side. Everyone's been playing these Reds against the Dodgers, but it is a different hitting conditions here in St. Louis than it was in Great American. Keith, do you have any interest in this? Obviously, the young stud prospect, Ellie De La Cruz, is up to 3,700. Will be hitting from the right side of the plate tonight, and he did strike out 3 times last night against Kershaw, and he gets another lefty here in Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it at the beginning when we were talking about Jordan Montgomery. I don't actually have any interest in this game at all. And it's not to say that there's not, a good mini stack or anything on the Cardinals side. I just don't have interest in it because it's a 13-game slate, and I've got other pieces I want to attack.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Obviously, you can always play a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Gorman. Right there, 2-3 in the lineup, but you're paying for both of them. I just like paying for other bats in those same spots, same positions. So personally, I'm out on this game overall. I do like Jordan Montgomery quite a bit, especially on FanDuel at that price tag. Let's jump into the pivotal game of the evening. We got 3 games left here, and let's hit on it. Padres heading into Coors Field to face the Rockies. I've talked about the Padres all year. And the one night they went off was on the Island game. They weren't even on the main slate. They were going absolutely bonkers. Now they get Austin Gomber here against your Rockies and the Rockies bullpen. Coors Field, incredible hitting conditions. Obviously, it's warm. Up and down, these Padres 1 through 9, I think, makes some sense. I actually like some of these guys at the back half of the lineup. In particular, talk on the Padres. They will be far and away the highest owned stack overall on the slate. Talk on these Rockies because sometimes you do have a Rockies take that is different from the industry, being a diehard Rockies fan. But they are facing Yu Darvish here. Where are you going in this one, Keith?
I'm actually not playing Padres. And it's not to say that they're not in a good spot. It's not to say that they're not, capable of getting to Austin Gomber. We've seen these Padres Rockies games kind of go bananas, and a ton of runs being scored. Right now, the Rockies bullpen it's not that they're performing bad. They're just exhausted. because they don't have, like, when you're talking about 3/5 of your starting rotation that's out, you're talking about a ton of innings being ate up by the bullpen, and they're just tired. So I'm not saying that it's not feasible and it's not, you should not play the Padres. It's just I'm not, because of the limited amount of lineups that I'm making. I will, however, have a Rockies mini stack with Ryan McMahon, Mike Moustakas, and Nolan Jones. So that is where I'm going. McMahon and Moustakas have actually had really good success against Yu Darvish. They've got 4 home runs combined. McMahon's 7 for 24. Moustakas is 7 for 19 against Yu Darvish, who, and all I'm really wanting to do is I want to steal some ownership. I want to steal some ownership and get a lot of this lineup in there. I don't mind fading this game completely tonight if you want to. It's not like it. You talk about it more than I do. When this game goes off, you're going to lose because you better have the right pieces. This is one of those nights where I think I'm just going to fade in most of my teams outside of those 3 lefties for the Rockies. I'm probably going to fade a lot of this game.
Yeah, right off the top, I'm going to call you a homer for talking on the Rockies mini stack here, but no, I do get it. McMahon, Moustakas, even Diaz there, Nolan Jones all have very good numbers against right-handed pitching at home in particular. I can't do it personally going to the Rockies. I do get it. On the Padres side, I did make one Padres team, and I added some of these guys in the back half of the lineup. Ha-Seong Kim, Trent Grisham, with some of these other guys. Some of these lefties are going to be lower owned, like Grisham, like Cronenworth, like Juan Soto, against lefty against Gomber, but a right-hander is going to come in after Gomber more than likely. So I do think 1 through 9, these Padres are in play. Xander Bogaerts is back as well for these Padres tonight. So that makes their overall lineup just look a lot better on paper. For the Padres, hard to ignore them overall. I definitely, if you are stacking them, try and get different and add some of these guys. Not to say that they're going to be unowned, but they will be lower owned. Dixon, Kim, Grisham, Cronenworth, even Juan Soto will go slightly under owned compared to what he normally would, being lefty, and he does hit lefties pretty solid at least. So overall, I mean, Padres clearing away the chalkiest team on the slate. But for good reason. I mean, Gomber, 7.24 expected ERA, K rate of just 15%, barrel rate right around 9%. So overall, I mean, I haven't played the Padres much. I am playing them tonight, so expect them to score about 2 runs and get shut out here by Cy Gomber and the Rockies. But I did not play them on my main team just for ownership purposes. And I like the Braves more. I like the Dodgers more. I like the Brewers more. There's just a lot of spots that I like more that are at lower ownership, and I'm just going to take my chance because there is going to be guys tonight, especially in 150, 20 max, that just go 100% Padres stacks. So they're going to have right combinations if this game does go off. Me with 2 to 3 teams, it's hard to – I mean, you could 5-man stack the Padres and still not have the bats that you need. I mean, there's the 4 bats that you leave out could be the 4 bats that you need in your stack, right? So that can happen absolutely as well from a roster construction standpoint, but great spot, no doubt about it. Next game looks like more of a pitching game for me. Obviously, Ohtani on the mound, Castillo on the mound. I think this is a pitcher's duel overall. Not a ton of interest in bats, but if I were going here, I definitely would look to some of these Mariners. Just trying to pick off some home runs against Ohtani, Cal Raleigh, Jared Kelenic, Hernandez. Julio Rodriguez is starting to hit home run. Like, he's starting to hit a little bit, hit a bomb the other day. I saw the alert. But overall, not going to either side of this game to stack. It would just be more of a contrarian couple Mariners 2-man stack or something like that against the chalkiest pitcher on the slate.
Yep, I'm kind of out on this game as far as an offensive standpoint. we talked about the pitchers, how much we love the pitchers, and I just not leaving enough room for bats. So I'm with you. I'm kind of out on this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we jump into the last game, we got about 200 people in here watching. Sitting at 80 likes, pretty hurtful there. If you could hit the like button if you have not already, we do appreciate it over here at SHIPITNation.com. Again, get all of our premium content and tools over here. We're not just a core-driven site. We do have all self-service tools that are very, very good, very in-depth with tutorials on the website to break down every single one of them, including proprietary projections as well that our guy Boomer has created. All the models, everything goes into them. It's been very, very profitable over here since our launch at SHIPITNation.com. $59 a month does get you access to all that, including the premium Discord, core plays, self-service tools, projections, and then you can add on our optimizer partner in the solver as well, using our code with the monthly subscription to the solver for all sports and SHIPIT Nation. $118 a month, pretty crazy deal, unmatched in this industry for the price, for the value, for everything that you get, along with all the other sports, including MMA with the new edition of Titletown, covering MMA content as well. They did a show earlier today. If you do have interest in the MMA card, pay-per-view card tomorrow, they did a show. Hoop and Title did a show at 1 p.m. right here on this channel. Go ahead and give that a look if you do have interest in that. Let's touch on this next game. Obviously, I see Keith had to step away. Looks like he is back now. It's the Cubs heading in to face the Giants. You brought up the point on Marcus Stroman, which I thought was very interesting. Obviously, the Giants heading back home, coming out of Coors Field. I love picking on teams coming out of Coors Field. First game out of Coors Field in particular. So personally, I'm out on bats in this game. I know some of these Giants have good, solid numbers. I just think on a 13-game slate coming out of Coors Field against a pitcher that has pitched well this year, I'm out on them, out on the Cubs here. Overall, seems like a pretty cross-off, pretty easy fade spot for me for bats. Are you with me?
Yeah, I mean, for bats overall, especially for Giants, like I'm just not playing Giants. It's not like their offense went bananas in Denver. Outside of that one game, they stole a couple games from the Rockies late in the game. There were 2 blown saves. It just coming out of Denver, especially with it being yesterday and there not being a day off in between. It kind of holds a little bit more, especially against a quality pitcher like Marcus Stroman. He's got a 3.8% barrel rate. He just doesn't hit the sweet spot of the bat. His strikeout rate's actually up there a little bit more than it has been in previous years, which is nice to see. I mean, I could honestly see him going 7-8 innings tonight. I mean, this could be a 3-0 game. I don't see a lot of bats that I'm trying to go to. I guess if I want to try to steal something, maybe at Ian Happ, but I mean, he's on the list of possibilities, but he's not somebody I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm off this game completely in terms of bats. Let's go ahead and get to the segment that we always do. Keith, one pitcher that you kind of like outside of obviously the chalk guys in Wells and Ohtani, where you're going to go. Things post a solid score at pretty low ownership, and then your home run call of the evening.
Yeah, I'm going to go right back to him. I'm going to go to Marcus Stroman. He's outside of Ohtani, he's my highest owned pitcher of the night. As far as dongs are concerned, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go with I'm going to go Homer. I'm going to go Ryan McMahon over for you, Darvish.
Interesting. There's the homer call of the day. I'm going to go to a guy that I like quite a bit. I talked about him, 9,200 for the White Sox. Dylan Cease against this Miami team. I think he can post a solid score. I'm not afraid of this Miami team by any means. I think some of these White Sox bats can score some runs as well. right around a -120 favorite as well in Vegas. Overall, it's a pretty solid matchup looking at the numbers over here. So I think Dylan Cease can post a nice score. He'll be sub 10% owned as well. Nice little added bonus there to pair with some of these chalkier pitchers up at the top. So I like that quite a bit. And then I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. I talked about this guy quite a bit. I'm going to go to the Yankees. He's hitting right behind Juan Carlos Stanton. Obviously, Stanton's probably going to get pretty close to the Judge treatment, I would assume, here from Whitlock. I'm going to go to Jake Bauers, batting right behind him there. 2,300, nice little value piece, dual position eligibility there. 369 expected ISO against right-handed pitching in Yankee Stadium this year. Has hit a couple 2 home run games. I did roster him in his last one. I'm going right back to the well. Fits lineups very well. There's another value first baseman if you want to get away from those top guys, or a value outfielder as well. 2,300. I do think Jake Bauers takes Whitlock deep tonight in Yankee Stadium, and preferably right down that line in the short porch. So I do like that quite a bit. But Keith, that's going to do it. 13-game slate, little over an hour, so we do apologize for that, but there was a lot to break down, went through pretty in-depth. We appreciate everyone hanging out in the chat. Good luck tonight in your contest. It's Friday. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather. But for Boomer, I'm Nades. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.